Hello and welcome to another bad take in the book community. My god, is it raining arseholes right now. Because I was just randomly doom scrolling on Facebook, and in my suggested ads, I swear to god, there came this article from the Telegraph. I don't read the newspaper, I don't care. The news is bleak enough without me having to read it as well as see it every now and then. And it was the first line that got me, saying it's a bleak time to be an author. And then I saw the title and thought, oh, whoa, hang on a minute, wait a fucking minute. Let's get into it and read the article together, because I have not read this in its entirety yet. So we're going to do that now. So this is an article published on the 7th of June 2026. Today's the 9th, it was only 2 days ago. But this is the title. Gen Z's taste for fairy porn lays bare the Me Too generation's smutty soul. Clutch your pearls for this one, ladies. This genre has conquered the literary world. And this is an article by reporter Lara Brown. I will link the article down in the description below. So this is what she says. And as you can see from the picture she's put on, it is Sarah J. Maas. You have got A Court of Thorns and Roses from the ACOTAR series. You've got Throne of Glass from the Throne of Glass series. And you have got Crescent City from the Crescent City series. This is what she says in her wonderful, wonderful wisdom. It's a bleak time to be an author. Adult fiction and non-fiction sales have slipped this year, while trade paperback sales fell by more than 9% in 2025. But emerging from the ashes of a struggling publishing industry like the Phoenix is one success: the Romantasy genre, which is slowly but ineluctably conquering the literary world, with more than $610 million in sales in 2024 alone. You know, Romantasy is still classed as adult fiction, right? There's young adult romantasy, and then there's adult romantasy, because she says that adult fiction have slipped, but romantasy is up. The math ain't mathin' for me. I am not the biggest data analyst, but already, I don't think she's coming from a place of love, darlings. I really don't. Publishers are racing to carve out a slice of this booming market. Bloomsbury has launched Bloomsbury Archer, dedicated to the genre, while Harper has enjoyed major commercial success with its new Midnight collection. Romantasy hasn't just launched in the last year. Does she know that? It's been going for decades. On Wednesday, Britain's first dedicated Romantasy bookstore opened, nestled amongst the dreaming spires of Oxford. The founder of Bad Girl Books has promised punters that the spicier the book, the better. Monster smut, we've got it. Kinks, there are plenty to explore. Is that the first Romantasy bookshop? I thought there were a lot more. Romantasy is the Lord of the Rings crossbred with Mills and Boon, but without the world building or plot. In other words, 50 Shades of Fur, or more colloquially, I can't even say it, colloquially, I don't even know if I'm saying that right. It's going to be one of them. It's going to be one of them words that I can't pronounce properly, and you're all going to laugh at me for it. Fairy porn. In a bid to understand a genre that could single-handedly revive the publishing industry, I have read its best-selling books, so you don't have to. Which ones? Romantasy is a really, really big genre, and yes, some romantasy is crap. And I have read crap. But I have also read romantasy that is really, really good. I can't get over the Lord of the Rings crossed with Mills and Boon. If this woman has actually sat down and read Lord of the Rings, I will be mightily surprised. She seems to have it in for it already. In other words, 50 Shades of Fur. Or fairy porn. I want to know what she's been reading. The trend started with A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, the queen of romantasy, who has sold 75 million copies of her books worldwide. The book is a straightforward Beauty and the Beast retelling with some coercive sex layered on top. Sarah J. Maas did not invent romantasy. I am not a romantasy reader. I prefer horror. And even I know that Sarah J. Maas did not invent romantasy. That's like saying J.K. Rowling invented YA fantasy. That's ridiculous. Does she not do any research for any of these articles? Good grief. I have the ACOTAR series right here, waiting to be read. I have not read it yet. But yes, there is sex in it. So what? There's sex in a lot of books. So what? There's sex in horror books. One of the most egregious scenes of Stephen King in It is a sex scene, and it's graphic. And people hate it because of what it is. and what the people in it are. I get why it was written, but people don't like it. But to say that sex just is in Romantasy is... she's a whack job. I'm sorry, but she is. And yeah, Akata, A Court of Thorns and Roses is kind of a Beauty and the Beast retelling. But it is not the first to do a fairy tale retelling. Good grief, guys. Has she done no fucking research? It centres on the relationship between Tamlin, a snarling, gigantic beast with golden fur, elf-like horns, and yellow fangs. It doesn't look like that in any of the artwork I've seen for it. And Feyre, whom he keeps in captivity and occasionally assaults. Did she read A Court of Thorns and Roses? Don't think she did. Did she read the cliff notes for A Court of Thorns and Roses? People who have read it, let me know, because I haven't yet. But I don't think that's just the premise of it. That she's kept away from the fairy ball for a reason, because all the fairies get drunk and want to have group sex. Despite its name, the world of Romantasy isn't entirely imaginative, because all fiction has to have a point. Books establish popularity on BookTok, in which fans provide 1-minute commercials for the tropes you might hope to find inside. Popular themes include Shadow Daddy, Dagger to the Throat, and Captor/Captive. Who pissed in her Cheerios? Fucking commercials. Did you know that that's all we do on BookTok? Fucking commercials. In order to succeed in this world, authors are encouraged to mimic the topics that sparked their predecessors' popularity. Yes, they are, because it sells. Publishing houses want to make a profit. Right now, it is fairies. In the early 2000s, or like 2010s, it was vampires with Twilight. Before that, it was like werewolves. Before that, it was wizards. Before that, it was vampires again. Perhaps this is why the current BookTok sensation, with 13.6 million views on the app, is Bonded by Thorns, advertised as a spicy Beauty and the Beast retelling filled with enchanted fae, morally grey characters, a stupidly hot villain, and a princess who has found her prince charming. All 4 of them. Are you sensing a theme? Of course there's a theme. They're in the same genre. That's like going after romance books for always having a happy ever after. Romance books are like Disney films. They have to have a happy ever after. It's like going for horror books and being surprised there's blood and gore in them. It's like reading Dracula and being oh so shocked that he's a vampire. Spice is BookTok's slang term for high level of sexual content or smut in a book. It emerged from the world of fanfiction, when online bloggers would use a chili pepper emoji to denote that a particular chapter would be particularly hot. I don't know about that, I didn't read fanfiction. But sex in a book did not start with BookTok. Some of the most spiciest books are decades old. BookTok did not invent sex in books. Just as 50 Shades of Grey was originally Twilight fanfiction, Romantasy is the commercialization of previously self-published serialized erotica found on sites like Wattpad. This is an easy bet for publishers. Find a writer who has already built up an online following, and your marketing efforts hardly matter. The only ones that I know that were fanfiction but has now turned to be traditionally published are Alchemized, but I would in no way, shape or form call this a romantasy. It isn't. It's way too dark. It's on the border of just maybe being over into a horror or a really dark fantasy. Romantasy, this isn't. And another one. Now this I would class as romantasy, which is Rose in Chains. Now this started as Harry Potter fanfiction as well. I can't remember if there's any sex in it. I think there might be, but I really can't remember. Because it doesn't fucking matter. Romantasy seems to have been crafted in a lab for the terminally online Gen Z and millennial reader. This may be why so many of its protagonists, bizarrely, seem struck with chronic illnesses. In Fourth Wing, the heroine has an autoimmune disorder. In The Contortionist, it's chronic fatigue. And in A Heart of Blood and Ashes, a chronic leg injury. The women of these stories are routinely struck down by incurable afflictions that force them into the arms of morally dubious vampire, demon, or shapeshifter. Starlin Marrow, who founded Bad Girl Books, says that she likes the genre so much because it is so inclusive and empowering to celebrate stories written by women which feature women's voices and desires. But it's hard to square this oft-repeated feminist claim with their actual content. Coercion, kidnap, and sometimes all-out romanticised rape. Yeah, because A Game of Thrones was just, a walk in the park for the female characters in there? But notice how George R.R. Martin isn't getting this kind of backlash. It's only the genre that's primarily written by women that is getting the backlash for being too sexy. To their credit, romantasy paperbacks are often beautifully printed. Heavy gold embossing against a William Morris-inspired floral scene dominates the genre. Does it? Does it? Does it? Does it really? The paper is often gilt-edged. Where's my gilt? I only get sprayed edges. Many fans will pay for subscription services such as Fairy Loot. Not that I have a whole shelf of Fairy Loot books. Many fans will pay for subscription services such as Fairy Loot in order to be sent a quarterly, specially printed edition, more objet d'art than hardback, replete with themed friendship keyrings, tarot cards and jewellery boxes. Did she watch my last unboxing? Because that's what we got in the last Fairy Loot young adult box. Not the adult one, the young adult one. We got keychains. Keychains! I love my keychains. Don't come for my keychains. And if she did any research whatsoever, she will know that Fairy Loot is not quarterly. Their Epic subscription is, but the Romantasy, Fantasy, young adult boxes are monthly. She might want to do her research before she does an article. There's something amusing about seeing a delicately designed Romantasy book on a tube, carriage or in an office. Has she been watching me? I have just been to a work convention with a book that I read on the train. Oh no, this article came out before I travelled, but so what? The generation that ushered in Me Too now proudly displays erotica filled with heavily eroticised and dubiously consensual BDSM, assault and coercion on their coffee tables and in their Instagram stories. You probably wouldn't curate a collection of lads' mags on your coffee table. Is Romantasy really any different? Yes, it's different, Lana. I think she's getting Romantasy mixed up with dark romance. But then if all she's read are A Court of Thorns and Roses and Fourth Wing, then she hasn't really expanded her efforts across the genre, has she? Because I haven't read them. They're sat on my shelf waiting to be read. But the Romantasy books that I have read don't always have sex in them. This, Romantasy, dark fantasy, it has one sex scene. So what? Nearly every single Stephen King book has a sex scene in it, but you don't see her calling him out. And I am not even going to count the amount of sex scenes that are in this one, and rape and assault, because I would be here all night. But you don't see her calling out George R.R. Martin for his Song of Ice and Fire series. If I had this on my coffee table, apparently I'm an intellectual. But if I have this on my coffee table, I'm a degenerate. It ain't that deep. She's behaving like the pick-me girl that was never picked. Does it matter what I'm reading on the train? Does it matter? Does it matter that I took this on holiday? And yes, you can get a nice sort of discreet cover, but why the fuck should I? Why should I? Just because I might hurt other people's feelings, or other people might get an opinion of me that I couldn't give a shit about. I will read my romance as much as I like. I will read goddamn 50 Shades of Grey if I so feel like it. I don't care. She cares a little bit too much for somebody who's not in the book community and who, given by her other articles that I'm not even going to cite here because I have read restaurant menus with better subjects than what she picks for her articles. I would rather read this book. The one that I hated is my nemesis, is this book last year, The Irresistible Urge to Fall for Your Enemy by Bridget Knightley. This is a Romantasy book that I noticed she didn't read. I read this, I hated it, but I would rather only be able to allow to read this for the rest of my life than subject myself to her superior soapbox articles on politics and books, because she's not getting the views on the other ones, than ever read anything again by her. So what? She had a slow news day and decided to pick on the book community? Well done. Get your wishes, girl, but God grief. God, that's bad. So I will read my Romantasy smut. I will read my porn, my fairy porn, and I will be proud because fuck you, Lana. I am going to go read. So I am sure you will let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. And until next time, read some fairy porn. It might enlighten you. And at least it might remove the stick para.